Today we have Sitesh Srivastav, who has a deep interest in corporate training, is closely associated with radio, and he loves talking and meeting people. So, how are you, Sitesh, today?
I'm well, Kanchan. It's been long that we have spoken, and I look forward for talking to you. How has life been with you?
Yeah, fine, great. We are also meeting new people, doing our daily routine shows, and eating a lot.
Great,
That is
great,
the
great.
best part of staying at home because there's no time. We are our own boss.
Yes, 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 yes.
So,
Well, what are we discussing today?
yes, we just celebrated 150th birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, and he was a great leader. His contribution is not less than Mahatma Gandhi. But everybody knows about Jallianwala Bagh, how General Dyer massacred the innocent Indian. But you would not know about a bigger massacre in India than Jallianwala Bagh. On 25th September 1945, uh, 76 years ago, there was a Neelganj massacre where 2,300 soldiers of Azad Hind Fauj were gunned down by British soldiers. So I thought today on this Subhash Chandra, it was on 23rd of January, but we are still celebrating 25th, I'm sorry, 25th birth anniversary of Subhash Chandra Bose. So I think it is a great topic to let our viewers know that there's a greater massacre than Jallianwala Bagh, which is hidden, which is not being talked about. So do you know about this massacre?
Kanchan, this is interesting and strange. In post-independent India, the one of the sad part is that our history was moderated to so much uh, into easy way of writing without any nationalistic connotations, without any facts giving there. It was something which was just a piece that needed to be written. It was written, and many of the facts were hidden. And this is what we have been taught, and even today it is being taught in the schools. And Neelganj massacre was also an eye opener for me, which I also got to know only recently in 2021 when we were celebrating Netaji's birth. And it filled me with lot of anger, or towards why have we not written, or why have we not told this is information, this piece of history, which is much more gruesome as it appears than Jallianwala Bagh, which happened in 1919. The greater irritation is that this happened in 1945, as you just said, which was less than 2 years of our independence. And that is something which has given me a kind of a lot of goosebumps, that 2 years before independence, when it was at the height of Second World War, in 1945, this kind of massacre happens in India, on Indian soil, the British Indian soil, and there were no reports about it. It was not just, even in those days, the reports are not seen in the national newspapers, or it was not talked about by the leaders. Forget, paying any kind of remorse. And that is something which suddenly makes me think that whatever I have learned as a history, the Indian history, the modern Indian history, do I need to relearn it? Do I need to relearn it from various authors and really question what was taught in NCERT and CBSC and ICSC, and why is it so? And therefore, Neelganj massacre, 22,300 people and no news. This is a pity on the modern Indian politics, which Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose has been meted out with in independent India. And despite his fan following, despite the unquestionable integrity that he carried with him, despite the rare personality that he was, in those days when there was no information flowing like today, and he could travel from his house arrest in Kolkata to Germany, and from Germany to Japan, and then from Japan to Singapore, and then finally coming up to Nagaland border, Kohima. And this is an incredible journey that needs to be told. The fact needs to be pulled out from fiction. All the declassified files in whichever country they are around Netaji's life should be declassified. If not now, then when? What do you feel?
Yes, I think there's no account of Indian, no account is given of INA contribution in the Indian independence movement. It totally, political leaders totally ignored this NIA movement, which is very, very crucial. But Sitesh, there are many things which has to be declassified, like first election of independent India. Like I was just reading yesterday in one of the test book, the war between Rana Pratap and Akbar. Actually, it is said when you go to Rajasthan that Rana Pratap never defeated by Akbar, and in fact, I heard, I'm not sure, but somebody told me that Akbar tried to give whole of Sultanate in exchange of Chittor, but Rana said no. And yesterday I was reading that Rana was defeated by Akbar. But that last war, according to the history and some of the historian, was a draw between Rana Pratap and Akbar. But in textbook, it is written that in last war, Akbar defeated Rana Pratap. So I think few aspect of history has to be changed, is to be told as they are, and the history and the contribution of INA is one of them. And when I'm talking about Neelganj massacre, it is really sad that this kind of incident being uh, covered up or maybe hidden by Indians, and it is doesn't have any mention in the textbook. And I think that time has come that all which is hidden should come out, as you said, should be declassified. We have all right to know each and everything about our own country, about our own people. We have right. And I think time has come that people should think about it, and they should work towards it to really give information to
Correct.
Indians about Indians. You know that
Correct.
when this INA was emerging, it is more crucial to India, though the impact, the shadow of INA was there when we talk about Japan and when we go to Singapore, and he even met Hitler also. So you can really visualize the uh, height of this leader, the impression of this leader, and no a small leader can do or act like this. He was one of the bravest freedom fighter we ever had. I'm talking about Subhash Chandra Bose.
Yeah, yeah, Kanchan. So probably I think that he was way ahead of his times. He was able to see the future. If you listen to what he said while he was Congress president, where he had apparent conflict with Mr. Gandhi, and then when he moved out and then he formed his forward bloc, his speeches, he was a person who was actually in a world of history, all that I can say that he was caught on the wrong side of the history, because he went and he had the, that conviction about himself and his thought that he met Hitler, and from there he was directed to go and the Japanese political setup, and he ended up meeting the Japanese emperor, where he asked for the help. And therefore, after the Second World War became decisive, after the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and Japan pulled out. And that's where, Netaji, he actually found the biggest setback of his life. He was so close to victory, he was so close to success, he was so close to becoming our de facto leader. But a fate, chain of events, and then the stories that were created around that mishap, the Saigon, the accident. And I have also keenly followed about the wealth that INA had, Indian National Army, as well as the provincial government of India, which was created in Singapore. The wealth of the Asia Pacific Indians diaspora people, that wealth which was for the Indian government that was created in exile. I have seen some documentaries, Kanchan. That value of that money in today's term could be somewhere around 6 billion US dollars, and no one knows where all that wealth has gone. So it is high time that the declassification should happen from India, from Russia, from Germany, and all the places that Netaji visited, and all the people with whom he was in touch. His daughter, Anita, I think I'm saying correct name, she is in Germany. She has access to some of the documentation available with the German government, and all of that. It is important. It's high time. It's 75 years, and while I was in Japan, I must tell you, in Tokyo there is a Renkoji temple, which claims to have ashes of Subhash Chandra Bose, which was found from the wreckage of the plane on that fateful day. And that ashes are kept in a Renkoji temple, and the Renkoji temple is open throughout the year. But on 18th of August, when this incident happened, on that day, a diary or a visitor book is kept at the table, where outside of this temple, where people can go and write their comments about Netaji's Bose. And I'm told that there are comments from Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee and multiple of other leaders from India, who believe that they are Netaji's ashes. But the secrecy which is surrounded around Netaji's disappearance, therefore, and many of the, especially our Bengali brothers and sisters, they still don't believe that Netaji passed away in that crash. So it's high time that we need to come out from the government perspective, so that once for all, this story around Netaji can be settled. And I think all other rumors about Gumnami Baba and other people who were kind of, they were supposed to be Netaji living in exile in India post independence, those all can be put to rest. And I have been to Renkoji temple in Tokyo, where they believe that one day Indian community, Bengali community, would take the ashes from them, and then the circle of life for Netaji would be complete. So I think whether Netaji passed on that day, or he passed out later from a Russian prison, and whatever happened, and then the Nilganj massacre that we are talking about, This all needs to be brought out, debate needs to be done, and it has to have a national presence of discussions, and a closure should be given. And I think I heard that government is also planning for a statue of Netaji somewhere in Kolkata or near Kolkata, which would be as comparable to Sardar's statue in Gujarat.
Yes, and there's no doubt that INA and Netaji Subhash Chandra holds a status of patriot and revolutionarist. So, and it is really sad that INA they have suffered a lot in the process of Indian independence movement. And when we are talking about Neelganj massacre, it has to be put forward for other children and Indian at large to know that there was a massacre which was being covered up or maybe not told by historians, and somebody who has written Indian modern history, they somehow missed it. So now it's time to really claim and uh, tell our new generations that freedom is not free. It costs soldiers, it costs people who have sacrificed their life for independence, and we have to care for this freedom which we are enjoying. And it's very, very essential to really come together and work for the progressive India.
Well, that's absolutely right. You could not have been more apt, Kanchan. And I wish that we should take up this to tell our youngsters and about Netaji's legacy. As much as we talk about other legacies, it is more and more important to talk about the legacy of our patriots, and Netaji stands right at the top.
So it was good to talk to you, Siddesh. We'll discuss some other interesting topic, informative topic in our next episode. Till then, bye bye. Take care.
Thank you, Kanchan. Have a great day ahead.
Bye.